तपाईहरु हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
गुड मर्निङ नेपाल।
नमस्कार, सधैँझै बिहानी सो गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा यहाँहरूलाई स्वागत छ। म तपाईहरुको होस्ट डाक्टर सन्तोष उपाध्याय। आज अरु दिनभन्दा अलि फरक तपाईहरुले मेरो आवाज पनि अलिकति फरक सुनिराख्नु भएको छ होला। यसको पनि एउटा विशेष कारण छ, जुन कारण हिजो देशभरि सेलिब्रेसन भएको छ। हिजो नेपालले आईसीसी को वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायरमा आफ्नो स्थान सुरक्षित गरेको छ र त्यो सुरक्षित गर्नका लागि जुन खेल हामीले युए सँग त्रिभुवन विश्वविद्यालयको मैदानमा खेलिराखेका थियौं, त्यो मैदानमा सम्भवतः यतिको इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर र एसोसिएट नेसनमा आजसम्मकै सबैभन्दा बढी उपस्थिति दर्शकहरूको थियो। त्यहाँ भित्रको प्याराफिटमा भिआइपी भिभिआइपी क्राउड सँगै स्टेडियम बाहिर पनि त्यतिकै क्राउड थियो भने हरेक रुखका हाँगामा नेपाली समर्थकहरू देख्न पाइन्थे र हाँगामा अरू बस्नु मात्रै भएको थिएन, हाँगामा झन्डा लिएर त्यहाँबाट पनि चियर गरिराख्नु भएको थियो। र यो समर्थनका बावजुद हामीले पहिलो इनिङ बलिङ गर्दाखेरि हामीलाई विशाल लक्ष्य युएले दिएको थियो। 210 रन हानेर हामीलाई 310 रन हानेर हामीलाई 311 को लक्ष्य दिएको युएलाई पन्छाउँदै गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो सुरुवातमै 1 रन जाँदै 1 विकेट गइसकेको थियो भने हामी सुरुवातमा केही डगमगाएका थियौं। तर हाम्रो ब्याट्सम्यानहरूले र कोचले सबै तालमेलले गर्दा यस्तो उत्कृष्ट प्रदर्शन गर्नुभयो कि हाम्रो 4वटा खेलाडीले हाफ सेन्चुरी हान्न सके र सँगै त्यो हाफ सेन्चुरी सँगै हामी रन रेटमा पनि यसरी गइरहेका थियौं कि केही कारणवश, चाहे लाइटको कुराले होस् अथवा पानीको कुराले होस्, डीएल मेथड नै गइसकेपछि पनि डीएल मेथडको टार्गेट पनि हामी मिट गर्नुपर्छ भनेर हामी त्यो टार्गेटलाई पनि पन्छाउँदै गइरहेका थियौं। र हेर्दा बीचमा केही पानीका छिट्टाहरू पनि हामीले देख्न पाइसकेपछि गेममा अचानक 42औं ओभरमा भएको एउटा चमत्कारिक ब्याटिङ जसमा हामीले 20 रन ल्याएका थियौं, त्यहाँबाट हाम्रो खेलमा फेरि फर्किन सफल भएका थियौं र डीएल मेथडबाट हामीले जित निकाल्न सफल भयौं। हामीले 269 रन बनाउँदै गर्दाखेरि इनफ लाइट नपुगेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि गेम डीएल मेथडमा गएको थियो। र यो जित सँगै अब नेपाल वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर खेल्दैछ र यो वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर भनेको के हो त यसबारेमा पनि थोरै जानकारी चाहिँ लिउँ है। अहिले टेस्ट प्लेइङ नेसनहरूको एउटा र्याङ्किङ वर्ल्ड कपको लागि छँदैछ, तर ती टेस्ट प्लेइङ नेसनभन्दा बाँकीका नेसनहरूबाट पनि को खेलाडी को टिमहरू जाने त भन्दै गर्दाखेरि 8वटा टिमको वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर गेम हुँदैछ र यो 8वटा टिममध्ये 3वटा टिम अहिले छनौट भएर डिभिजन 2बाट क्रिकेट लिग 2बाट गएका टिमहरू छन् भने माथि पनि एकदम बलियो टिम जस्तै साउथ अफ्रिका, वेस्ट इन्डिज, श्रीलङ्का, आयरल्यान्डहरू मध्येबाट कुनै 3वटा टिम पनि हामीसँग खेल्न आउनेछन् र यो नेपालका लागि एकदमै ठुलो अवसर पनि हुनेछ। अब आउँदै गरेको जुन जुलाईमा जिम्बाब्वेमा हुने यो क्वालिफायर यदि नेपाल शीर्ष 2 स्थान बनाउन सफल भयो भने चाहिँ इन्डियामा हुने वर्ल्ड कप पनि खेल्नेछ। तर हाम्रो लागि यो वर्ल्ड कप खेले समान हो, किनभने हामीले जुन देशहरूसँग प्रतियोगिता गर्दैछौँ र प्रतिस्पर्धा गर्दैछौँ त्यो नै हाम्रो लागि एउटा राम्रो एक्सपोजर हुन्छ। अब नेपालका लागि एउटा चुनौती चाहिँ के छ भने यी ठुला टिमहरूसँग खेल्न जाँदै गर्दाखेरि जुन जुलाईसम्म हामी कस्तो टिमहरूसँग खेलेर अगाडि बढ्छौँ त अबको हाम्रो रणनीति के हुन्छ भन्ने पनि महत्त्वपूर्ण हुन्छ। तर जसरी नाटकीय शैलीमा अन्तिम 12 खेलमा 11वटा जित निकाल्दै नेपालले क्रिकेटको क्वालिफायर वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायरमा प्रवेश गरेको छ, यो मोरल यो कन्फिडेन्स नै हाम्रो लागि चाहिँ सबैभन्दा ठुलो कुरा हो। र हिजोको क्राउडमा चिच्याउँदै मैले पनि आफ्नो आवाज गुमाएँ। अब धन्न आज बोल्न सकिराखेको छु। यस्तो थुप्रै नेपाली दर्शकहरूको अवस्था होला, तर यो ठिक हुन्छ, चिन्ता नलिनुहोस्। हामीले नेपाललाई यो जुन समर्थन दिनुपर्ने थियो त्यो सम्पूर्ण दर्शकहरूले दिएका छौँ र एकदम खुसीको क्षण पनि छ। र यो वर्ल्ड कप अब हाम्रो यो वर्षका लागि चाहिँ क्रिकेटमा विशेष गरी अन्डर 19 को पनि हामी वर्ल्ड कपमा क्वालिफाई भएका छौँ भनेपछि अहिले पनि हामी क्वालिफाई भइसकेका छौँ वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायरमा। यो सकारात्मक सन्देश हो सम्पूर्ण देशवासीलाई र विशेष गरी खेलाडीलाई, कोचलाई र क्यानलाई पनि हामी विशेष धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ र आगामी यात्रामा पनि विशेष शुभकामना दिन चाहन्छौँ। यो सेलिब्रेसनको माहौल छ, मलाई लाग्छ आज सबै नेपालीहरू आफ्नो अफिस जाँदाखेरि पनि खुसी भएर जानुहुन्छ। अनि यो एक्साइटमेन्ट सँगै चाहिँ आज संसद भवनमा पनि केही एक्साइटमेन्ट चाहिँ हुनेवाला छ। आज उपराष्ट्रपतिको निर्वाचन छ र यो उपराष्ट्रपतिको निर्वाचनमा हामी विभिन्न उम्मेदवारहरू पाएका छौँ। फिक्स हामीले 2 उम्मेदवार भनेर जसरी राष्ट्रपतिको निर्वाचनमा थियो त्यस्तो अवस्था छैन। यसमा पनि 4 जना उम्मेदवार हुनुहुन्छ। हामीले सबैभन्दा बेस्ट उपराष्ट्रपति पाउनेछौँ भन्ने आशा गरौँ र यसका साथसाथै अब नेपाली राजनीतिले पनि एउटा स्थायित्व पाउँछ भन्ने हामी सबैले आशा व्यक्त गरेका छौँ। र आजका राष्ट्रपति निर्वाचनमा उभिनुभएका सम्पूर्ण उम्मेदवारहरूलाई पनि विशेष शुभकामना र नेपालको अब आउने सरकार जनता र जनताको चाहनाप्रति चाहिँ बढी फोकस्ड भइदियोस्। र सँगैसँगै हिजोको इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुरा चाहिँ के थियो भने हामीले विभिन्न पार्टीका नेताहरू, विभिन्न सांसदहरू र स्वयं प्रधानमन्त्री नै पनि हिजो खेलमा उपस्थित हुनुभएको थियो र त्यो खेलको माहौल र जनताहरूलाई देख्दै गर्दाखेरि उहाँहरूलाई खेलको पूर्वाधारमा गर्नुपर्ने विकासबारेमा पनि अलिकति केही न केही चाहिँ हेका भयो होला। किनभने हामीसँगै खेलेको अफगानिस्तान अहिले टप 8 मा छ। हामी अफगानिस्तानलाई वर्ल्ड कपमै हराएका टिम हौँ र अबको पूर्वाधार चाहिँ केही विकास हुनुपर्छ भन्ने उहाँहरूले पनि महसुस गर्नुभएको छ होला र यसले गर्दाखेरि खेलकुदमा केही न केही सुधार आउला भन्ने हामीले पनि अपेक्षा गरेका छौँ। र सेलिब्रेसनको माहौलको कुरा गर्दैछौँ। हामी फुटबलको क्रिकेटको सेलिब्रेसनको कुरा गर्दै गर्दाखेरि काठमाडौँमा एउटा फेस्टिभल हुँदैछ आजबाट। यो कस्तो संयोग, हिजो हामीले क्रिकेट जित्ने अनि आज चाहिँ यो सेलिब्रेसन सुरु हुने। यो जहिले पनि हामी हाम्रो कल्चरको कुराहरू गर्दै गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो कल्चरलाई कसरी संसारमा चिनाउने भन्ने हुन्छ। इकोज इन द भ्याली फेस्टिभल अफ म्युजिक 2023 17 मार्च भनेको आज टेकुमा र 18 मार्च भोलि असनमा यो कार्यक्रम हुँदैछ। यसमा विभिन्न हाम्रो काठमाडौँकै विशेष गरी नेवार कल्चरकै हामीले प्रस्तुतिहरू देखाउँछौँ। यसमा म्युजिकहरू, डान्सको कुराहरू, थुप्रै कुराहरू हुन्छ र यो भनेको विश्वमाझ हाम्रो समुदायलाई, हाम्रो कल्चरलाई चिनाउने एउटा अवसर पनि हो। यो प्रोग्रामको बारेमा अझै डिटेलमा हामी अर्को दिन कुरा गर्ने नै छौँ। तर आज यहाँहरू सबैलाई के अनुरोध गर्न चाहन्छौँ भने हिजोको सेलिब्रेसनको माहौल पनि छ। भ्याली बाहिरबाट पनि हामी बस मान्छेहरू सपोर्ट गर्नलाई आइराखेका थियौँ। आज यो गीती र डान्सको नृत्यको भनौँ यो सेलिब्रेसनको लागि पनि तपाईँहरू आज टेकु गएर सेलिब्रेट गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ भने भोलि असन गएर सेलिब्रेट गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। यो थियो हाम्रो खेल अनि मनोरञ्जनको कुरा। तर जब देशको विकासको कुरा आउँछ, देशको विकाससँग प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा जोडिएको हुन्छ रिसर्च। र रिसर्च जोडिँदै गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ रिसर्च गर्नका लागि हामीलाई चाहिन्छन् साइन्टिस्टहरू। आजको एपिसोडमा म यो धासिएको आवाज लिएर पनि आउनुको एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण कारण छ। हामीसँग आज यस्ता 2 गेस्ट हुनुहुन्छ। एकजना नेपाली नै हुनुहुन्छ जसले नेपाललाई विश्वमा चिनाउन सफल हुनुभएको छ। उहाँ साइन्टिस्ट पनि हुनुहुन्छ भने एउटा विश्वमा प्रख्यात साइन्टिस्ट हुनुहुन्छ फिजिक्समा, जो भविष्यको नोबेल प्राइजको विजेता पनि बन्न सक्नुहुन्छ। उहाँको काम त्यस्तै किसिमको छ। उहाँहरू 2 जनासँग हामी आज संवाद गर्नेछौँ र उहाँहरू 2 जनाले गरेको फिजिक्समा र विशेष गरी फिजिक्ससँग रिलेटेड हेल्थको कुराहरू पनि जोडिएको छ। यी विषयवस्तुमा चाहिँ हामी कुराकानी गर्नेछौँ र नेपालमा पनि हामीसँग क्रिम अफ क्रिम स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू छन् र नेपालीहरूले पनि विश्वमा ठुलै काम गर्न सक्छन् है भन्ने उत्प्रेरणा तपाईँहरूलाई दिनका लागि आज हामीले गेस्टहरू बोलाएका छौँ र गेस्ट को हुनुहुन्छ भन्ने बारेमा तपाईँहरूलाई जानकारी हामी ब्रेकपछि दिनेछौँ। अहिले समय भएको छ छोटो कमर्सियल ब्रेकको। ब्रेकपछि पुनः स्वागत छ गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा। र आज मैले ब्रेकमा जानुभन्दा अगाडि केही प्रसङ्गहरू जोडेको थिएँ। आज हामीसँग 2 जना यस्तो व्यक्तित्वहरू हुनुहुन्छ जसले अनुसन्धान मार्फत विश्वमा सकारात्मक परिवर्तन ल्याउनका लागि दिनरात खटिराख्नु भएको छ। तीमध्ये हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ एकजना अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरमै रिनाउन्ड साइन्टिस्ट र उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ प्रोफेसर डाक्टर भिक्टर माल्का अनि हि इज प्रोफेसर एट वाइजम्यान इन्स्टिट्युट अफ साइन्स इजरायल। वेलकम टु द प्रोग्राम।
वेलकम, गुड मर्निङ।
एन्ड हामीसँग अर्को एकजना गेस्ट पनि हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँ चाहिँ नेपाली नै हुनुहुन्छ र नेपाललाई विश्वमा चिनाउन सफल हुनुभएको छ। हामीले नेपालमा अवसर छैन भन्दै गर्दाखेरि त्यसको उदाहरण उहाँ पनि हुनुहुन्छ र नेपालमा त्रिभुवन विश्वविद्यालयमा मास्टर्स गरेर उहाँ फिजिक्समा पिएचडी गर्नका लागि जानुभएको थियो। हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ डाक्टर उद्धव चौलागाई, साइन्टिस्ट, एक्सट्रिम लाइट इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरमा अहिले कार्यरत हुनुहुन्छ। वेलकम टु द प्रोग्राम।
थ्याङ्क यू।
अब कार्यक्रमको सेगमेन्ट चाहिँ हामी इङ्ग्लिसमा नै कन्टिन्यू गर्नेछौँ First of all, Professor Malka, it's a huge pleasure to have you in Nepal, and it's my great pleasure to be a student of science and talking to you, because after seeing your CV and after knowing more about you, you've been doing an amazing job in the field of physics and overall science. I have something to ask to you. You're born 62 years back in Morocco. You did your PhD when I was not even born in 1990. And now you are doing an amazing work in the field of science and physics, and you have more than 200 published papers in biggest journals and so many awards. I cannot even mention them right now. So how was your childhood, and can you please tell us about your journey?
Thanks for remind me that I am already very old.
You're still young.
So it has been a very long path. Yes, I born in Morocco, Casablanca, and then with my family we moved when I was 6 years old to Marseille, south of France, by boat. And then after we moved to Paris, then I grew up in Paris where I did my studies. So at the beginning I was mostly interested by mathematics. I didn't like to go to school too much because I think I was motivated to do sport or to move. I cannot sit for too much time, so I have too much energy. So I didn't have a good memory or good feeling about school when I was young, and but it's come much later when I was 20. So this is a message I want to say to the young people. You can think you are not done for studies, but then you can reveal yourself later, and this is true for many things, because I start with mathematics, and then after I moved to engineer school in chemistry, and I didn't like chemistry, and then I realized that I was more motivated for physics. So I started physics when I was 24 years old. Okay. So just a message for
that's an amazing story.
It's good.
Actually, there are a lot of kids in this school who are not getting good grades initially, but that's not all. You have a whole life, and you can discover what you can do in your life, and you could be one of the best among the best, right?
It's true for everything. You can change your mind if you have the will to do something. Then you can realize it. It's not that everything is defined at the beginning forever. This is not the case at all. So it's a matter of willing.
Wow, that's amazing. We didn't know this part of your life. Well, thank you so much. Mr. Uddhav, Dr. Uddhav.
That's fine. Okay.
A lot of people complain about, the studies in Nepal, the university that we have. And now here you are doing the Masters from Tribhuvan University in Physics.
Exactly.
And then you went to France for your PhD. And now you're working in Czech Republic for past 7 years. Can you please relate us with your story from village now?
Well, I was born in really tiny village in Tehratum, which is eastern part of Nepal, which is really remote at the time. I can recall that when I was a child, the school is like 1 hour walking when I was a really small kid, like 6, 7 years old. And then for the secondary school, I have to walk 2 hours one way. So it was amazing journey, like at the time when I recalled these memories. So it was fantastic. And then after that, I moved to the bigger city for, we call it ISC. These days it no more exists, it's more like a +2 to Dharan, and then came to Viratnagar for the bachelor, and then moved to Kathmandu for master. So I never been in Kathmandu before that, because it's just
so it was the first time you came to Kathmandu while doing your master's.
Exactly, exactly. Otherwise there is no reason to come here, so it's like just drove me here. And then I did my master in physics in Kathmandu, which was quite fine. It was very competitive by the way at the time. Compared to now, there are many universities and also campus where you can study physics, but at the time there's just one central department of physics. And after that, there were few young professors at the time in Kathmandu. They came back from Europe after finishing their PhD. So I really like to thank Professor Binil Aryal. Now he's a dean of the Tribhuvan University in science, and also Raju Khanal, Professor Khanal, and there is Professor Adhikari. They are really charming, because they are just like fresh PhD graduates. So, and it was the best time. But at the same time, I have really, I wanted to push more on the astronomy and astrophysics. Because when I was a really small child, more than 300 nights I used to see the stars when I just step out of the house. Because there is no pollution, nothing in a remote village.
And in some villages there is no electricity as well.
Well, we didn't have
the only thing you can stare at
is
exactly.
We didn't have. We didn't. I mean, we have it maybe in past 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
But before there is no electricity for sure. So, but that was like I wanted to know like how the star, how it works, how it forms, and the whole system. So, but at the time there is no astronomy, astrophysics course in Nepal. But fortunately, Professor Binil, he did his PhD in astronomy. But he was just fresh here, so he came back and he wanted to student as a master thesis. So I was one of his first student. And then during the time, there was some summer school happening in Kathmandu, so I have a chance to interact with more people from abroad, because we didn't have any resource, how it works and everything. And in 2009, actually there was a conference. It's called Frontier in Plasma Physics and Technology. It was the 4th series. I also met Professor Malka at the time.
Wow.
And at the same time, I met my PhD mentor. She is Professor Santosh Upadhyaya. She's also from Paris, France, and she was, at the time, she was the vice president of Paris Observatory. It's a big observatory. There are multiple locations where they can observe. It's a very ancient observatory. And she just proposed me, why don't you come to France? So, and I said, well, why not? Because okay, this is the place. I think more or less astronomy was born in France.
Wow.
There are a lot of people, astronomers, really renowned astronomers are there. So somehow I decided to move there after 1 or 2 weeks.
That's amazing. Whenever I was listening to your story, I was relating it to mine because I was born in the far west in a village, and then the journey started. And I'm yet to achieve a lot of things, but I'm still in the way. But this is the message that if you are anywhere, no matter the geography, no matter the resources that you have, but if you have the willpower, you can always achieve what you want. Thank you so much. Now I want to ask something more about the conference that recently happened in Nepal, and then we'll go to the topic, what it was about. First of all, thank you so much for doing it in Nepal, because we rarely have big conferences in Nepal, and now we have this big conference of 5 days of physics in Nepal. So I'd like to ask you how it came to Nepal, and what were your objectives to do it in Nepal, and what is it about?
Okay, so perhaps the first thing that I can say, and you can complete, is that this is a series of conferences that has been organized by Tara Desai, and the idea is to organize this conference in countries where the people do not have a chance to go outside because it's expensive to go in conference abroad. And among the different countries, there have been the Nepal. So in 2009, it was the first time that the conference, Frontier of Plasma Physics and Technology, has been organized. And this year, again, Tara proposed to organize the conference here. So it has been a pleasure, of course, for me to come back here for the second time. And it's always a very exciting time to visit Nepal. And what is very special in this conference is it give a chance to young physicists to meet people that they cannot meet otherwise, because it's a way to attract a professor here in Kathmandu, and this professor can communicate. There are a lot of possibilities to discuss with the student and to exchange about our topic, that is a plasma physics.
Wow. And you being a Nepalese, and this is the second time you did the same conference in Nepal, right? One as attendee,
exactly.
And now you're part of organizing it.
That's correct.
What difference it is, like the journey from the 2009 to 2022?
Well,
23.
Actually, it was supposed to happen in 2020, but because of pandemic, it moved to 23. Because we all suffered. I was super excited when I had a chance to attend in 2009 conference, and now last time I think in 2019 Tara decided with the chair of this conference. She sent me an email, hey, we are organizing conference in Kathmandu, are you interested? Or like, she sent me an invitation. I said, wow, this is the conference I was looking for so long. And then, of course, because of pandemic, it was postponed. But since then, like I have a drive inside me that I was really, really looking for this. Even invite my, colleague, like, professor from the Europe or from the different world and interact and show the country, show the young people, like, because also to give a lesson to the youngster, because the conference in 2009, it was just, I never had an expectation that, I meet my mentor and I'll move to Europe. And I spent like, I can work in such a, one of the biggest infrastructures. So super excited. At the same time, it was a bit challenging because, traveling from Europe to here and also a lot of restrictions and other. But fortunately now everything's well, I would say it's well balanced. Weather was perfect, because it's still, it's cold here. It's perfect spring. And the conference happened in two sites. One is on the Nagarkot, so we spent 3 nights there. So most of the guests, they really liked it. Fortunately, we have a chance to see the mountains.
Wow.
So we're lucky.
The weather was good.
At 6 in the morning.
Exactly. We need to wake up a bit earlier. We finished the session quite late, but fortunately, everyone woke up. And together with sunset and sunrise and the mountains, it was fantastic. So.
And to organize this conference, it's very important to have local people that are helping in the practical organization and scientific organization. So perhaps we can thank the different professors that is involved in this conference.
Yes, definitely. Like Professor Khanal, he did a fantastic job. It's a chair from Nepali side, and there are more people under his team. Professor Subedi from Kathmandu University, and several young students. I saw like they are very excited about the conference, their participation. In the conference, there are more than 40 poster presentations, which is amazing. Wow. Even though we are like
from the Nepalese side?
All the Nepalese. I think out of 40, there are at least 30 plus, they are Nepali.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Most of the time, Nepalese, even they do the research, they don't find a place to present their article, right? Then it's really difficult to publish their article, and also it's very difficult to find the resources for the research. That's the biggest challenge.
And we have a chance to visit the university as well.
Yeah.
It has been very instructive for us.
So which university did you get a chance to visit?
The name
it's
of the
Tribhuvan University. They're like the same department I did my master. It's very nostalgic for me because, I was there almost 10 or 11 years ago, and now I went after 10 years.
I'll be juggling back to that topic in a while, because I have to ask something about the European and Nepalese university. We talk a lot about plasma physics, and a lot of people might be considering, like, what is it? And it's not always possible to explain everything in layman, because something are technically so difficult. But like, if you have to tell about your topic and your field, how would you tell us, like those people who don't know about plasma physics?
Okay, so I will try to explain as simply as possible. So what we do is that we want to change the way we accelerate the particles. So today we accelerate the particles with a machine that we call an accelerator that relies on a cavity that is metallic cavity. And because this cavity are metallic, the electric field that accelerates this particle is limited. So if you use a plasma, which is a ionized medium, so it's like a gas, but the electrons are free. They are not attached to the ion to form an atom. The electrons are free. So this is very important to understand, that because the electrons are free, the medium can support a very high electric field. So it's a very efficient way to accelerate particles as soon as you are able to separate a large amount of electrons from the ions. So when you extract all the electrons from the ions, all together you create a very high electric field. And this is what we do in practice. And how we do that, we use a laser that we focus
to remove the electrons.
To remove the electron, and the electrons come back and they oscillate and they create this electric field. So now we know how to manage to do this. And we know how to extract the electron from the medium to create an electron beam. So this is the way. In input you have a laser, in output you have an electron beam. And this
so you have already figured out like how you have to do that.
It's a very long process.
Yeah,
it's a very long process. You don't come in the morning in the lab saying, oh, okay, today I will create an electron beam. It doesn't work like that. You start with asking question, very simple question. What's happened when light interact with an atom? What's happened when intense light interact with atoms? And then you understand that the electric field of the laser can be stronger than the electric field that link the electron and the nucleus, so the electron can be removed. And then after ask question, what's happened when you have 1,000 photon instead of 1 photon? And what's happened when the intensity is increasing? What's happened when you have an electron that is free in the laser field? So how the electron oscillate in the laser field?
So you have to do the series of experiments one after another to find out like
yeah,
what.
it's always exact. It's always a question, and you answer, and there is another question, another answer, and you progress slowly. But you have to keep the you have to keep the motion.
You have to keep the
always to be exciting and asking yourself. And this is the way science is driven by curiosity.
Exactly.
It's not that you go for a fun idea.
Okay, I'll discover this today. It doesn't happen that way, right? Yeah. So, how long did it take to you to figure out this?
Voilà.
The entire process of your research?
Forever.
Forever.
I started to work on this topic about 25 years ago, and now we make many different breakthroughs, and we are able to generate electron beam, X-ray beam, gamma ray beam, and there are some applications. So I'm very excited about the application of this new technology.
Yeah, I want to ask this because there are a lot of people who want results immediately. People are seeking the results immediately, and this is a kind of motivation for them. Like since 25 years you're working on one project and you want to try to find out something new. And while talking about the application, I also read somewhere that you're working on cancer treatment with this theory. So how far you have proceeded in it, like in which state we are right now?
So right now we know how to deliver the electron beam with the right parameter for radiotherapy. Now the real motivation or the real direction is to demonstrate that we can build a machine that is economically competitive with existing machine.
Okay.
So this is the real goal, is to replace the X-ray machine that are used today for radiotherapy by this new technology at a cost that is comparable, but that will improve the cancer treatment because of the specificity of the very high energy electrons that are better dose deposition than the X-ray.
So may I ask, like, what is the mechanism, how it kills the cancer cells?
Oh, it's the same than X-ray. So it introduces a DNA break and in the cancer cells. So the idea is first to visualize where is the cancer tumor. So when you know where is the cancer tumor, you target with X-ray today, but tomorrow hopefully with very high energy electron, and only in the region where the tumor is located, and then you kill the cancer cells. So
it will be more beneficial and less side effect.
So exactly
compared to X-ray.
Exactly. So because of this dose deposition feature of the very high energy electron, we have shown that you can reduce the amount of unwanted dose in the safe tissue or in the sensitive organ when you use this very high energy electron rather than X-ray by 20%.
So the scientists are looking for the solution to every problem, and hopefully cancer being one of the major challenges in the health sector, hopefully we'll find this device very soon in an affordable cost so that we can treat this cancer. I have a lot of things to ask to you, but I will switch back to the question that we mentioned a little bit earlier. You studied in Tribhuvan University. You studied in a school where you have to walk for 1 hour, and then you went to France, and then now you're working in Czech Republic. What differences have you found in these different institutes, and what's the difference between the university in Nepal and in Czech Republic right now?
Well, I mean, in Nepal mostly we are, I would say we should be proud that we have people like students are quite good in theoretical physics, because we don't have labs like, the lab I work, or like Professor Malka lab, to build it you need a lot of funding, which maybe like for the moment I think government cannot make it happen. So when you go to the university, you have a small lab, even people are confused whether what is lens and mirror, because they confuse because in practice they never use it. But in theory, they, we studied quite hard, at least until the time when I was here, and even later. There is quite a lot of motivation on that. But when you go to the Western countries and they have everything's well, established, the laboratory, because they spend a lot of time. This is like hundreds of years of research. And what I found more interesting in the Western part, like in Europe, like in France when I was there, and also now in Czech Republic, the government is supporting a lot in the research, because Europe is what I felt is like Europe is the center, or like Europe is built for the research. Every country you see the research institute, and they get a lot of funding, and they have infrastructure to do that. So at the beginning when I joined the project, like in the PhD, so it was kind of, I did second master in France in astronomy and astrophysics. But at the time I hear that there is a laboratory astrophysics, and it was like trigger my mind, what is how can you do something in lab? Something from the space, because we thought that in astrophysics is like big galaxies, and you discuss about the big stars, quasar and everything. And when I discussed with the professor, she just told me, hey, we do this one. Like in space you don't have control, like you see the star, there are several parsec, or even like in astronomy, there is a definition of distance is so long. So you cannot do such even whatever we see is like, it's not like the event happening now. It's happening long time ago, because they have to travel all the way to Earth. Mm-hmm. So, but in Earth, like using like the high power laser, for Professor mentioned, or like there are big machines that you can mimic similar processes. So I was like astonishing when I hear that, and I say, oh, this is the field I would like to join. So I changed like the astronomy to more like the the more practical one, so that we could do in the lab in the controlled environment. So now these days, like we have this high power laser. This is like maybe Professor will tell you more about the laser, how it works. But these high power lasers are like so fascinating tool that you can create like a tiny small sun in the lab, like what we see in the space, right? It's the same temperature, same pressure, but in controlled environment. So you can observe the process, how it changes, how it behaves, like creation of shock wave, or you can create the similar, like you said, if you look closely in the star or like the sun, you see the flare coming out, and you can mimic something in the lab. We call it the plasma, because the sun you see, or what we see is full of plasma as well. So exactly, that's what we do there.
Amazing. So we have a lot more thing to talk, but now अब हामीले धेरै कुरा गर्न चाहिँ बाँकी नै छ। अहिले छोटो कमर्सियल ब्रेकको बेला भएको छ। ब्रेकपछि हामी फेरि कुरा गर्नेछौँ फिजिक्सको बारेमा। ब्रेकपछि पुनः स्वागत छ गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा, र हामी आज चर्चा गर्दैछौँ फिजिक्सको बारेमा र प्लाज्माको बारेमा। र हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ प्रोफेसर भिक्टर मल्का, र हामीसँग केही फोटोजहरू पनि छ जुन उहाँको अचिभमेन्टको। सो वी हेभ सम फोटोज अफ your achievement and something related to you. So this is laser plasma accelerators for very high energy electron radiation. For me it's more like a very beautiful graphical work. I don't understand much about it, but can you please explain something about this?
But this is in fact a simulation.
Okay.
What you see is the laser pulse that is in yellow here, that is moving at the speed of light, and is creating a density perturbation. This wave that you see, it's like a boat in the lake that is creating a perturbation, a wave that follows the boat. And this is exactly what's happened in the reality. We focus a laser in a very tiny focal spot of 10 micron radius, and it's going to the gas that it will ionize, and it will move all the electrons. So this electron, they oscillate.
So the wave is the wave of electrons.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the magnetic wave that they are creating, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's simulation, and the small red dot that you see, these are the electrons that has been removed by the wave, like a surfer, and they are going to go from the top to the bottom of the wave, and the wave is moving at the speed of light. So this electron, they are going to be accelerated.
Okay, so the wave is moving.
Yeah.
And those electrons that first you learn how to keep them in one place, all the electrons, and so then you created.
Exact. Exact. Wow. So there are fields that concentrate this electron in the given position, and this is the way we produce. But it's very small.
Can you tell us more about this? It's very interesting, yeah.
So the length of the medium that we use, it's only 1 millimeter. Okay. So in 1 millimeter, you take the electron at rest, and you give them an energy that can reach hundreds of MeV. So this is the most efficient way to accelerate particles today.
Wow.
Yeah, I can comment actually, like, okay, yes, you know, like normally there are big infrastructure, okay, like probably many of you here, like the CERN, which is located in Geneva in France, is 27-kilometer tunnel where particle is accelerated. That is very expensive project.
27 kilometer.
Yeah. Underneath there is a big tunnel.
That's the length of the ring road of Nepal.
Exactly.
27.3.
Exactly.
Okay.
Similar one. Yes. Yes. Exactly. We have also 27 kilometer here. So the main focus on this research was like, you know, to accelerate the particle and to collide and try to understand that later there is exposure and other. It's a really big facility. So the Professor Malka and, you know, like the people, they discovered a different regime, different way to accelerate the particle, and using the laser. So we shrink the acceleration from 27 kilometer down to, let's say, few millimeter.
Wow.
And then also there are more facility, like our synchrotron facilities. Not we don't have any, but in India and Western world, they have many synchrotron facility. And what they do is like they accelerate the particle in the ring and generate the X-rays, and that is used for the cancer treatment or other stuffs. Okay. But it's a very expensive one. So changing that to using the laser, we can shorten this by 3 orders of magnitude. So you can accelerate the part same, let's say 10 GeV electron in 10 centimeter target instead of 10 kilometers. So we shrink everything down.
That's amazing. And now I was reading this line that you're targeting for 2035 to do this treatment in the low-income countries and low-income families, and cancer treatment, of course. Being a medical doctor is like big thing for me, and I feel more connected to it. I have something more to ask with you. Right now, what you're working on?
Currently, I work in extreme light infrastructure facility. Actually, it's a big European project. There are 3 sites. One is in Romania, another is in Prague, Czech Republic, and third was, is in Hungary. So our mission is by the name is extreme light infrastructure. That means we wanted to create the most powerful light that's through the laser. And we use this laser to create what Professor Malka was mentioning, that to create the particles like accelerate the electron, X-rays, ions, and use for multidisciplinary application. So one of these, that's why we work quite closely. So I'm very much thankful to Professor Malka. We collaborate in this with his pioneering work. Then he's guiding us. And the second mission is that the user from different country, they can come, they can apply for the beam time. That beam time is they can use our laser. Even Nepal, if they have a fantastic project, then they can apply for the beam time, and they can get a time and they can do the experiment there. Wow. So it's a user's type of facility, and we are more or less now ready to welcome the users, and in future we hope that, you know, it's expand not only from Europe but more internationally.
Thank you so much. Like, you have been making us proud being a Nepali and doing all these things. Now, Professor Malka, you were in Nepal, and it's the second time you are here, and we did this entire conference on physics. What possibilities do you see in Nepal, and what message would you like to give to the young scientists of Nepal at the end? Because I know you are going back today, and your flight is at 12, and thank you so much for being here as well. And what message would you like to give to the younger scientists of Nepal?
So I think that the first message is that you have to be motivated, you have to be curious, and when you want to do something, don't hesitate, and don't hesitate to move, don't hesitate to question yourself, be curious, be creative, And yeah, I think that the Uddhav career, coming from a small village, going into a capital, and then moving abroad, I think it's important to move. It's very important to travel, to exchange, to open the mind. All these things contribute to stimulate the curiosity and the creativity. So that's, I think, the very important message. I have to say that I forget to mention about this application. This medical application is very important. We know that the number of cancer will increase in the future, and this is something that we have to face. So it's our responsibility, when we have the possibility to find an application, a societal application like the cancer therapy, that we have to end up with this. So I take also this opportunity to thank the European Innovation Council, because I got a grant from Europe in order to perform this research. It's also part of the way we work. So it's very competitive, and if we want to do research at high level, we need to submit grants. So, and then after we can have the grant and we can continue. So I have a project that is called e-beam for therapy, and the aim of this project is to go to the market. So this is also a message. You do fundamental science, you do application, and you have to construct everything in a very well-defined way.
Thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you and having you in our show, and thank you so much, Uddhavji, for being here. So we have two doctors today, and we're almost at the end of our show. And if there is one line that you would like to tell your younger self, or the young scientist,
definitely. Just keep trying, look the opportunity, and as Professor mentioned, don't hesitate to move. And you need to face the challenge if you want to get success.
Thank you so much. So आज कार्यक्रमको हामी अन्त्यमा आइसकेका छौं र साइन्समा जे पनि कुरा पोसिबल छ भन्ने कुरामा हामी विश्वास गर्छौं र नेपालमा पनि तपाई जुनसुकै क्षेत्रमा जहाँ पनि हुनुहुन्छ भने तपाईले चाहेको कुरा गर्नलाई आफूले अगाडि चाहिँ बढिराख्नुपर्छ, निरन्तर प्रयास गर्दा सफल अवश्य भइन्छ, ढिलो चाँडो हुन सक्छ र साइन्सले नै मेरो घाँटी पनि ठिक पार्छ भन्ने म आशा गर्दै आजको कार्यक्रम यही सकिएको छ र थ्यांक यू सो मच फर बीइङ हियर विथ अस र भोलि फेरि अर्को रमाइलो, भोलि शनिबार छ, आइतबार फेरि अर्को रमाइलो प्रसंग लिएर यहाँहरुमा उपस्थित हुनेछौं। तबसम्मका लागि बिदा दिनुस्। धन्यवाद। थ्यांक यू।